Hey, have you been keeping up with the Audie Crooks news? Obviously, she's been committed for a little bit.
Right.
That was, no pun intended, a very big deal because, she leaves Iowa State, and I'm going, I don't know if it's all the way to UConn. I kind of what SEC school is she about to go to? How about that? That was kind of the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
And Oklahoma State ends up landing her, and they seem to be on the women's side be putting together a pretty nice and pretty expensive. That's not a shot, by the way. That just because that has been used as a shot, obviously, towards programs over here. But a very expensive roster. Now, $1.4 million is the reported pay for her year, making her, according to this, and I'm just going to trust this, the third highest women's basketball player. Not college, basketball. That's what the Post says, anyways.
Wow.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Who's above her? Asia Wilson. I'm curious. That's
they've had some contract shakeup with the WNBA recently and free agency and
Asia
things
Wilson
like that.
just signed the biggest one, didn't he?
I would love to dive into those numbers for you, but I do not have them here.
Fair enough.
Those numbers aren't going to stop climbing.
Behind Asia Wilson and Aaliyah Boston. I just had to scroll down a little bit. There you go, which makes sense because they both just got paydays. So that's crazy, Gus.
It is. Yeah, it really is. That's a fascinating development because the one thing we haven't seen anything close to in men's sports, we've seen some NIL deals that would offset maybe some bonus money, or possibly even maybe some rookie money. Like the top and $4 million was that to sort of offset, rookie money and to create the sort of guarantee that would offset taking your chance in the NBA. And of course, you run the risk of trying the NBA and not making it and blah, blah, blah. And so, money probably well spent there, but on both sides until the ACL tear. But, that's, we're not that unprecedented. Unprecedented on the men's side.
If that number is true, you know what jumps out to me more than just like, oh man, Audie Crook's getting paid and you're going to have to deal with her in the Big 12 again. It's the program. It's if it's Oklahoma State, I start going, okay, where else? And they've been fine, more than fine, for years financially in other sports. That's why for a long time their facilities, you were kind of looking over there being jealous of some things that they have, right? And obviously you have not only caught up, but you have surpassed them. But Oklahoma State, I go, okay, what can they do over in football now, right? New head coach. It's Eric Morris over there. It's not Mike Gundy. They're trying to revive that program. I think Mike Gundy, was torn on the donors that he had there for a long time that probably loved him and donors that were there that were very much tired of him over the last 5 years and really over the NIL era. I mean, if they can find a way to shell that out to make a wave for women's basketball, they're obviously looking at you pretty close to home, seeing what you've done. Can they do a similar type of thing? Because I think you have, in my opinion, the Big 12 has they've woke up because of you. They made fun of you, right? They took shots at the roster. They took shots at oil money and things like that. And then what did they see you do in the Big 12 last year? For the most part, you ran through the conference and you're set up to have a similar outlook this year to do it again, right? So
football.
What happened after that? You started to see Utah do things in a very different way, diving into private equity. You saw BYU battle for Kalani Sitake and say, hey, don't go to Penn State. We're about to dive into some funds for you to help out to catch up. K-State was whining about stuff. Well, who went over there? A former player that was at Texas A&M. Look, what they're doing over there. No, that's the sort of stuff you have to find money to compete, right? You had Colin Klein go over there. I don't know what their situation as far as building up donors or anything like that or money over at Kansas State. But I think that there was a rude awakening, and I guarantee you he went over there and said, like, nope, I would like to do some of the same things. So if Oklahoma State, I'm just taking this Adi Crook story and going over to the football realm over there as they try to start fresh with a ton of new players. You know, a bunch of players that followed Eric Morris from North Texas, a bunch of really talented players. I'm just curious if there's going to be some sort of, I don't know, massive money push over in Stillwater.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Or is this simply just an Adi Crook story?
Well, and she's a one-and-done player, too, so this doesn't have to be a long-term, 3-year type situation. It's an interesting maybe allocation of assets. Is it as splashy as Nigeri Kennedy in softball? Probably not, but it's pretty dang splashy.
It's pretty splashy.
Yeah, and I don't know that she's as impactful as, Nigeri. Not that that's the comparison. I'm the one bringing it into this conversation, but I'm really coming at it from the, did they spend that kind of big money on a single basketball player on the men's side or football player or something? It doesn't feel like it. It feels like they've put a lot of resources into getting her there for a year, and that'll be an interesting one to follow. And I don't know enough around their story to know if they are really well equipped, minus a big player in the middle, that kind of. I don't know enough about where they are, or if the idea here is, hey, we're going to throw a bunch of money at this deal this year, and make a splash, and with her, we're going to get 2 other really high end players and go toe to toe with. I would kind of consider TCU maybe as the splashiest team in the league last year, in terms of what they did in the portal the last couple years.
Sure.
Maybe this is OSU pushing back on that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. And
Yeah,
again,
it
maybe it is simply a women's basketball story, but I think that when you
there's-
are making that sort of a wave, you would think you're also going to show some commitment in your other sports
Yeah,
too,
I agree.
right?
I agree. I think so.